the Chiefs look really good. And I know they had fans. They had a little bit of an advantage, but they look really good. Do you think the Chiefs might actually repeat? Because, like, they're going to be good for so many more years to come.
They will repeat. You heard it here. They will repeat.
The World Juniors, I don't know if you saw it today, but they're going to have their World Juniors tournament in a bubble as well in Edmonton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just announced it today. No fans.
It can work. It works. I mean
that should be able to work,
right?
right? Yeah. I mean, it's just a tournament.
They can go. They're pretty much going to go. They're pretty much on the Stanley Cup final now. They're just waiting for Tampa to close it out. But,
yeah,
they can totally make it work for the World Juniors.
Yeah, speaking of that game, I got it on in the background just in case any goals get scored. They just started. We got football on in like 20 minutes as well. So,
I know. What a time to be alive, right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought hockey in September?
I know, right? Yeah.
Playoff hockey in September.
Playoff hockey. Stanley Cup will be awarded in September. Yeah. Yeah, or no, maybe October. Yeah, it could be. It could be in October.
I'd say October, depending on how long the game goes. But it's like every other day.
I think it could stay in September.
I don't know. It probably will. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the first few days of October. I don't think it should stretch too far into October.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into this. Welcome back to Unlimited, everybody. Episode 19. I got Tristan Fowler as the guest today. I've known Tristan for a long time. Thought he'd be a great guest to have on. So first and foremost, Tristan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Decent day at work. Been doing school. Things are going good. Can't really complain. How about you? How's school been going so far?
School's been going good. Can't complain. Just in the house, but doing work while I can, doing that Zoom stuff, watching sports, watching TV, doing chores, simple stuff.
Just the university life, I guess. Yeah.
Literally university life. So.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we're going to take a little bit of a break from that university life today, hopefully, or for the next hour. We're going to talk some sports. Lots of stuff going on in the sports world. Like Tristan mentioned, hockey, Tampa Bay. They're playing in a big game tonight against the Islanders, Game 6. So we're going to start off the conversation with some hockey talk. But before we jump into the Tampa and Islanders series, there was a team that Tampa beat in the previous round that we should probably talk about first. And Tristan's smiling here because it's his favorite team. It's the Boston Bruins.
It's a tough one, man. It really is. What can I say?
Look, I need some background here because I've known Tristan for a while, and I know like kind of where he started or when he started to become a Bruins fan. But can you give me some background as to exactly why you wanted to cheer for this awful franchise?
I think you know why. But, young guy, you see these teams, they beat Vancouver, good tough team. Tim Thomas was just a legend, man. Who knows where he is today? But back in the day, man, like you could not hate on Tim Thomas. I could, and I love the guy, man. Conn Smythe getting getting a shutout in Game 7. Like, come on, sir. He's the one probably responsible for the riots in Vancouver, man. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he is. That's why you like him so much, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. Early 2010s, though. That was when I started. Good Bruins squad, and unfortunately haven't been able to pick up Stanley Cup number 2.
No.
In the past decade, or I guess 7, if you want to call franchise cups. But I mean, they've been close time and time again. I mean, last year St. Louis, that was a tough one too. And this year Tampa Bay, I mean, what can I say? We kind of got lucky last year with facing Columbus and then Carolina and then getting to good teams, by the way. Like I'm not discrediting them, but I'm just saying the path towards that. The big obstacle for Boston has always been Tampa. Tampa's just a really good team. They're a solid team, solid players.
Yeah, especially this year. Like, look at their decor and their offense. Like, they have so much depth, and Andrei Vasilevsky has really stood on his head throughout the entire playoffs. But what do you think went wrong in that series for the Bruins? Because everyone's saying that, okay, maybe it's just because Tuukka Rask left the bubble. Yaroslav Halak isn't obviously as good as him. The Bergeron, Pasternak, Marchand line was somewhat inconsistent in that series as well.
It was.
But what do you think was the ultimate kind of tipping point that gave Tampa the win in the series?
Overall, you can really just say it's a combination of all of that. Like personally, I love Boston, but I've seen Tampa play, and Tampa just seems to have it all together. Last year, it's unfortunate with the Columbus series, but I think this year they've got a bit of a chip on their shoulder because of all the memes and the jokes. Right, you have such this solid squad: Kucherov, Hedman, Vasilevsky, like all these guys, man. And as much as I do love Boston, and they do have a strong team, President's Trophy winner this year, by the way.
Yeah.
Rask being gone, and I don't think the decor is as strong as it may seem. Char is getting pretty old. Krug's pretty good on the line. Other than that, like nothing too solid. I think in the defensive component, I think Tampa Bay's a lot better. That line, obviously, you can only rely on one line so much. I mean, look at the Colorado line, Ranson and Landeskog and those, like beautiful, like great players. Don't get me wrong, but it takes a whole team to kind of get past. And I think if you look past, maybe Rask could have got us another win or two. I would have hoped he stayed, but you know, he had to leave for reasons, which I'm not upset. You know, it is what it is.
You can't blame him.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, I think obviously just a combination of things. I think they're probably one of the best teams in the league. I think they'll win tonight. I think they'll go on to win the Stanley Cup. Honestly, I think it's long overdue. This team's been at the top for a while, like Washington was the past couple of years. They've been at the top for a while. It's long overdue. They just got to make that push.
No, I completely agree with you. I've been saying that too. Tampa Bay is my prediction to win the cup. That was the team that I picked as my bracket winner for those exact reasons. I thought, you know, heading into the playoffs, everybody was talking about Colorado, your team, the Bruins. Even like teams like Carolina, they got off to a hot start in the
Carolina's a good team.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay, like what they went through last year, and just they've been knocking on the door for so long. It's about time they finally win at some point. Islanders just scored, by the way. It's 1-0 Isles. 5 minutes in. Oh, and they have a 2-on-1 right now. Nope. No, they shut it down. Okay. It's still 1-0, just 5 minutes in, so Tampa could still come back. But no,
time left.
So much time left. But yeah, I think people just automatically jump to the whole Tuukka Rask thing. That's why Boston lost. But in my opinion, I just think Tampa.
It's an easy excuse. Like, great goaltender. He's up for Vezina again this year as well.
Yeah.
Like, but at the end of the day, like it takes the whole. You can't just blame Halak. Halak came in when he needed to.
Exactly.
He played well in the first series against Carolina. Like, you can't just. And then once you switch over to Tampa, then all the blame gets put on. I don't think he should get blamed. Like, he's a great goaltender. If you have an emergency, you have an emergency. Like.
Yeah. Do you think this Bergeron, Zdeno Chara era of the Boston Bruins is kind of coming to an end here? Like, those guys are, you know, mid to late 30s, especially Chara is in his 40s. And, you know, Marchand is still, you know, considerably, like, he's still playing well. He's into the prime of his career, I would say still, but he, in a couple of years, will be older. They have Pasternak, who is a young guy who's going to be a big part of their team for a long time. But do you think it might be time for the Bruins to maybe transition into like a younger team at some point, maybe trade one of these big name guys? Or do you think they'll just keep Bergeron and Marchand to the end of their careers?
I think Bergeron will probably be a Bruin for life, most likely. He's been there since the beginning. And I think Chara too. The big thing once that series ended with Tampa was everyone's like, oh, what's Chara going to do? What's Chara going to do? And he's like, man, I've got like a year or two left. I can keep going. Like, I think at this point, though, still the team's pretty good right now. You bring Rask into it again. Hopefully he's good for next year. But I think they can make maybe for the next 2 years one last kind of push, maybe for Chara, maybe for Bergeron, and then kind of slowly dismantle the team. Because, I mean, Pasternak was a beautiful pickup. Like, you can't deny that. The guy, didn't you get Rocket Richard this year?
He should be, yes.
Tied or something. Great guy. Marchand's like what? Low 30s, mid 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's still fairly pretty young. So
and he was up there in the scoring as well this year with Pasternak for most of the season.
He was. He's really developed these past couple of years.
And he's a goon too. Like he can. Well, he's not a goon, but like he's a pesky player. That's what the Bruins want. That's what the Bruins want in their guys, to be physical and be nasty. And Marchand really defines that role well. It's 1-1 now.
Have to be.
Victor Hedman scored.
There you go.
Just like that.
Already on the way back. But no, that's what you got. I'm sure that's what other teams hate, is that before he just used to get under your skin. Back when Lucic was on the team, you got Marchand yapping in one ear and you got Lucic yapping in the other ear. But now Marchand, he talks in your ear, but then he can back it up, put maybe 2-3 points up.
Yeah.
So
Yo, it's not even.
I'm sure teams must hate that. They're like,
I know.
You gotta be kidding me, man.
It wasn't even just those two though. It was like also like Sean Thornton they had back then, who was also getting in your ear, bringing the physicality.
Exactly.
Adam McQuaid was always
a team, man. I like McQuaid. Andrew Ferentz too.
Andrew Ferentz. Johnny Boychuk, who's now playing in this game tonight. So yeah, they had a lot of mean guys on that team, but I think that I think that kind of style of play for the Bruins might be going away soon, and I think they might shift to more of like a skill-based, younger kind of play style. Still guys who can be power forwards and like get in on the forecheck and be physical as well, like a Sean Corrali. Like I think he's like a really good fourth line player for the Bruins. Like that's what they would look for in a fourth line player. But even Pasternak, like he can throw the body around as well. He can get it on the forecheck and get the puck back. So I think that's kind of what they might shift to. But no, I agree.
A few good young guys on that team. Jake DeBrusk is another good name I like.
Yeah, Jake DeBrusk is good.
He shows up in the game every now and then. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Jake DeBrusk and like David Krejci, he's getting up there too. They might move on from him potentially. They got Charlie Coyle is a young guy. Andre Kasha, who they acquired at the deadline. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe these guys turn into something, or maybe they don't. But
I think they can, man. If they can, they've been fighting it out at the top spot for a few years. They just need to make that push. And unfortunately, they couldn't do that last year against St. Louis. Great team, by the way. But I think they'll try for another year or two, and then if it's just not working, then you probably gotta maybe get rid of the old guys, maybe make some moves to kind of get a better younger core together, get the chemistry together. But I'm not too worried just yet. Talk to me in like 2-3 years when maybe the Big Z calls it quits, or Bergeron maybe goes somewhere else. I don't know. I think he'll stay for life, but I'm not too worried. But if you don't mind, I ask you, how did you feel about another early exit for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Well, I've already done a few podcasts on that topic.
I figured as much.
It was.
So.
Oh, I have a story. Well, it's not a story, but I was watching the Leafs Blue Jackets Game 5 at work. One of my managers put it on, and I think he might be listening to this show right now. So shout out Matt for putting that on. Made me watch that, and I was just watching the game, and like it's so hard to watch the Leafs play because if you watch the Tampa Bay and Islanders series and then you switch to the Leafs and Blue Jackets, it's like the Islanders and Tampa are on a completely other level than the Leafs were. Like Austin Matthews, like I was watching some of the plays that he was making, and like it's so sloppy, and he the way that he skates, like it's just so lazy. And watching that live, like back in early August, I thought Matthews was one of the best players on the ice. But now looking at it now, it's like, what is this guy doing? So, I mean, it sucks that the Leafs lost that series, obviously. But you got to give credit to Columbus and Korpisalo and the team that they had there. Like the Leafs got goalied in 2 of the games, and Columbus's defensive style was just too good for the Leafs offense, which is incredibly frustrating because the Leafs basically build their team around scoring goals.
Yeah, the team is all offense.
So, but I think it just opens up management's eyes to what we need to do in the offseason now, and moving on from a guy like Tyson Barrie, moving on from Cody Ceci, bringing in guys on the back end that are more defensive, more defensively responsible, maybe play a bit more physical. And then also maybe getting some more veterans in on the bottom 6 as well. There's talks about like Wayne Simmons coming to Toronto. I think he'd be a good piece to get. Jason Spezza, I think they need to re-sign him. I think he was one of the guys who was most devastated by the loss. So if he comes back, that's another big boost. And I mean, they already made one move. Kasperi Kapanen's gone.
Yeah,
which
back to Pittsburgh.
Back to Pittsburgh, which I'm not too sure if I like that move for the Leafs, just because Kapanen was one of the more like grittier players that
he was a hardworking player.
Exactly, hardworking.
He was busting his hump out there.
Yeah, penalty kill he can play on as well as the power play. I would have preferred it to be like Janssen or Kerfoot, but it's good to see that the Leafs did something, and especially in that trade, like they won the trade. They got a first-round pick and a pretty solid top 9 future forward in Hallander. So, I didn't think the Leafs were going to win the cup this year anyways. So, and I'm kind of over it at this point. I don't really want to talk too much Leafs.
I think most of Toronto is kind of we got the Raptors, so I think
not anymore. I was gonna say
not anymore, but I think people just kind of another Leafs failure. We'll just watch the Raptors,
Yeah, now we can say let's watch the Blue Jays, but they got smacked yesterday, and the day before. But we'll get into that stuff later. Let's focus on the good teams in the NHL, I guess, and talk about the teams that are still left in these playoffs. The Dallas Stars and Las Vegas Golden Knights series. First of all, who did you have winning that series?
To be honest, I talk with my girlfriend a lot about it, but I honestly had Vegas kind of taking it. I watched a bit of Vegas games, not a lot because they're a West Coast team, but they just seem to kind of have it all. Like what are they, like 4 years in since coming into the league now?
This is only their third year, yeah.
Third year, and like every time they show up, it's always, it seems like they have it all to just kind of go back to the cup but actually win it. And Dallas has shocked me the most out of every single team in the league. Like, who would have thought Jamie Benn and Sagan and Khudobin and all those guys, man, just kind of pulling together. I mean, hell, they're 4 wins away from winning it all.
Yeah.
Like, it shocked me. Like, I would not expect them to get in. I would expect one of the Canadian teams to get farther, like Vancouver. I thought Vancouver was going to at least get slip into the conference final, or if maybe the format was different, like a lot of people from Edmonton claim, maybe Edmonton could have made a slight push, but they're a lot of pieces away from at least getting a glimpse of what it looks like to play in the Stanley Cup final. So
interesting. Yeah, I have to agree. I thought Vegas was going to win it, heading into the series. I think when it got to like 2-1 Dallas, that's kind of when I shifted and I was like, okay, Dallas might end this thing quickly. Because Khudobin looked really, really good. And for some reason, Vegas's offense just disappeared. After
put the puck in the net.
Yeah, after that Vancouver series and Thatcher Demko just completely stole like 2 games from them, they couldn't generate any offense. Like Mark Stone was nowhere to be seen. Jonathan Marchessault, Carlson, Riley Smith, I don't think they got any goals in that series. I think Carlson might have gotten one and Smith got one at the end. But Marchessault was held off the score sheet. Shea Theodore had a great playoffs up until that last series as well. I don't know what happened, but Dallas is a good team, and it's hard not to cheer for them. Like Rick Bowness, like the story of him, going from team to team and not winning the cup, and finally gets the chance in Dallas after Montgomery was let go earlier this year. I want to see him win. I want to see Jamie Benn win. And Khudobin, that's been the story of the playoffs.
He's been rock solid, man. He's been a brick wall in that.
Yeah, he's been great. I think he can keep it up. I think you said earlier, if it's Tampa Bay, it's still gonna be tough. You think they're gonna win the cup, but
I just think they're just incredible. Just a great team, man. Honestly, if Khudobin can play well, I can make it a series, but that Tampa Bay offense, it's scary, man. And even how, you go on the power play, you got Hedman at the point, it's tough. It'll be a good series, though. I'm still saying Tampa Bay wins it and makes it a Tampa-Dallas final.
Yeah.
But that'll be a good series nonetheless. 2 great teams.
I do agree with that. I still think it will be Tampa-Dallas. I don't see the Islanders coming back. I think the one, big difference between the Islanders and the Dallas Stars is that Islanders, they don't give up many shots, but Dallas, they give up a ton of shots. They give up a crazy amount of shots, but Khudobin is just there to back them up. If they play against a team like Tampa, though, I feel like if they give up a lot of shots against Tampa, there's going to be goals scored against you.
Yeah, they got to play some rock solid defense. You saw, I don't know if you watched the last game between Tampa and the Islanders, but
yeah.
Was 2-1 in overtime?
I I think it was a 3-2 or is it 2-1?
Um,
It was double overtime. I
don't
know
know.
that. Jordan
Yeah, it was
Eberle.
double time, but anyways, no, the Islanders kind of play that. They play good D where, like Tampa tries to break in, but it's not successful as, it might be against other teams. But that's just because of like the great defensive scheme they have set up against Tampa to kind of limit their shots or limit like good scoring chances, right? And I think Dallas might have to take a page out of that to kind of, keep up with Tampa, especially if the Islanders figure out a way to kind of win this game and force a game 7. Dallas might have to take some kind of notes if Tampa wins, and then because I say again 100% Tampa Bay's winning this series. Like I have no faith in the Islanders whatsoever. But I'm just saying for maybe like a little extra boost, take notes, see what the Islanders are doing to kind of stop that offensive surge, and then hopefully it works out in the final.
In my opinion, there's no way that Dallas will be able to copy the way that the Islanders are playing, though. Like the Islanders play so good defensively. They play like that, like 1-3-1. They play so good defensively. Like they hardly forecheck too. They just they stay in the neutral zone. They clog up the front of the net. And Varlamov and Greiss are both pretty good goaltenders as well.
Yeah.
So it will be tough for Dallas to mimic that. I think Dallas would have to ultimately just stick to their game plan if they want to have a shot against Tampa and just maybe outscore them, which is also a problem for Dallas. They, in this Vegas series, I guess because it was Robin Leonard, it was tough for them to score goals, but it won't get easier against a guy like Andrei Vasilevsky. So,
not.
Yeah.
I got to have some guys step up, man.
So I want a prediction here. You said Tampa to win the cup against Dallas. How many games?
I say 6.
6 games.
Honest,
okay.
I honestly, I think Dallas can get 2, but I just think Tampa just has that. They've got a fire in their bellies, man. Like they want this. Like this is long overdue. I'm sure John Cooper always says that. Like this is long overdue. Like this is like you guys deserve this. Like last year, tremendous regular season, didn't get it done. But it's like everyone's watching. Like this is your year to kind of make that statement. Like, okay, last year, fluke, whatever. Like we are making a push for this. We are taking this cup. Like we are the best team in the league, and no one's gonna tell us otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any team that's more deserving of winning than the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like even look at what they went through in this playoffs. Like their playoffs started with a 5 overtime game against the Blue Jackets, and they gutted that one out. Who knows? If they lose that game, maybe something else switches. Maybe Columbus even wins that series. But guys like Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, Andre Palat has become a really good goal scorer so far in these playoffs. And then obviously their back end is insane. Like even Luke Shen. Like Luke Shen and Zach Bogosian look like somewhat decent NHL defensemen now. Like
stars out there, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're going to be really scary. I'm going to say Tampa Bay in 7 games. I think just ultimately it's going to come down to one game where who's going to want it more. And I think there's no question it's Tampa that wants it more. So I think they're going to win in the end.
Yeah.
But
they're hungry for it.
But also, in my opinion, like it's going to be so hard to see one of these two teams lose because I'm cheering for both Dallas and Tampa. Like I would feel so bad for Rick Bowness and I would feel so bad for John Cooper if one of them lost. So it really sucks. Like it's not like last year where it was I was cheering for St. Louis.
Oh yeah,
I didn't really care.
Everybody's cheering for St. Louis. Like come on, I'm used to like everyone cheering against you, man. Like come on.
Yeah,
I've been to Maple Leaf Square. I've watched the Leaf and the Bruins series at Maple Leaf Square. Trust me, like sometimes you bring the Bruins jersey, sometimes you don't because depending on a winner or loss, you might get beat up or you might get food tossed at you. So
Yeah, good idea. I would leave the jersey at home.
Yeah, precisely. No, 2 likable teams. Obviously, you hate to see one lose, but if I had to give it to one, Tampa all the way.
All right, there you go. Tristan Fowler with his prediction. There's a debate going on in the NHL, and it's been going on for so many years. Do you touch the Western Conference Championship Trophy and the Eastern Conference Championship Trophy?
No,
and you're just saying no. No? Why? Why not?
What I was told, what my girlfriend said, which she made a good point, was if you're gonna touch a trophy, it might as well be like, the grand prize, like, you win the league, you're champions of the league. No one wants to touch a trophy where it's like, oh, you only won like this half, but you only won like the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference. Like it's nothing to celebrate. Like you win 12 games and you're given a trophy for the conference. Yeah, that's great. You win 16 games, it's the whole league, man. Like I don't know. That's just for me personally. Like I don't know if that made sense or not. But
it does make a lot of sense. You're right. And like there's obviously no right or wrong answer here. It's just
obviously,
what you'd want to do.
Own.
I do want to say that the Pittsburgh Penguins are 3-0 in the Stanley Cup final when they touch the trophy. They didn't touch it in 2008 and they lost. They touched it in 2009, they won, and then in 16 and 17 they touched it both times, they won both times. So I don't see a reason why you shouldn't. And I think you should look at what works in the past. Like, did the Bruins touch it last year?
I honestly couldn't. I don't pay attention to that stuff. Maybe in the moment I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
I thought St. Louis touched it and they won, but I honestly couldn't remember.
I think you just gotta look at history. I think for some reason I think the teams that touch it have an advantage because like it feels like they've accepted the trophy. The other team just hasn't accepted it, so like they're on another level.
I feel the opposite. I feel like if like you touch it, I mean, obviously it's a moment worth celebrating, right? You basically punch your ticket into the Stanley Cup final. It's worth celebrating. But I just feel like the guys who don't touch it, they've got the mentality like, this is nothing. We want the grand prize. We want the Stanley Cup. Like, we're here. We punched our ticket in. Let's save the celebration for when we actually win it all. And I mean, if you lose, it kind of sucks, right? I mean, you still have that trophy to kind of fall back on. But I mean, nobody celebrates, we lost the cup, but we won all of the West. Like I'm sure Boston like waves around their little Eastern Conference trophy. Oh, we still have this. Like no one does that.
No one does that.
It's either all or nothing. Like nothing like that. But,
I agree. I guess we'll see what happens. If Tampa wins tonight, I don't know. Maybe they touch it. Maybe they don't. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
They can do whatever they want.
I wonder if Steven Stamkos comes onto the ice and accepts this trophy too. It's weird. It's weird how he's not a part of this team right now.
No, it's unfortunate for him. But I feel like maybe if he'd walk up and like accept it, or maybe he'd go up with somebody else and accept it. But he'll definitely be in the huddle if they win. I just don't know. Obviously, because he's the captain, they might have him and maybe an assistant captain or whatever kind of stand near it. I'm not too sure, but it kind of sucks that he hasn't had a lot of contribution to this playoff run as he probably would have liked to have.
Yeah, and he's been practicing, so I mean, like there is a chance that he does come back in the final, but it will be tough for him to come back and get into like Stanley Cup final quality game
like
style.
If he comes back, he's got to be like ready to go 100%, man. And I'm sure it's killing him right now, the run they're having and the fact that he can't play.
I mean, I'm sure like it's Steven Stamkos. If they can swap him for like Carter Verhaeghe, and like Carter Verhaeghe's a good player still, and he should have scored a goal last night if not for Cedric Paquette, who was offside, or 2 nights ago. But Steven Stamkos, if he's on the Lightning power play, like that just adds so much to their team. Like he doesn't even have to skate. He can just stand in one spot and Hedman can just tee him up for the one-timers, and like that's lethal. So if they can get him back, that's a big advantage, even if he's not 100%, I would say. And most of these guys playing right now aren't 100%. So. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Let's see if Tampa can close it out tonight. But let's move on to some football, some NFL talk. Haven't done too much NFL talk so far on this podcast, but
that's all right. Well, you didn't know if it was gonna happen or not, right? Like that's the big if. Like it kept counting down like 10 days, 7 days, 5 days, and everyone's like, "There's no way this is gonna work." And I mean, week 1 was a success so far, so good, and now we start week 2.
Yeah, the first game had fans. There was like 17,000 people in Kansas City. That felt weird, seeing fans in the stands now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure they're thankful because, I mean, other leagues don't get the chance to kind of have fans there. Yeah. So, I mean, I also figure if they probably made not a promise, but something to maybe season ticket holders or something like, hey, Super Bowl champions, it's opening night. Like, we can probably allow friends and family, and then maybe a few season ticket holders to kind of come in. If you saw in the crowd, they were all kind of socially distanced.
Yeah, you got to be spread out.
A group of 5 was on the left side, and then another group of like 4 was like 10 seats over or whatever. So I thought it was cool, and maybe if it keeps on working, they might incorporate that into more stadiums. But
yeah, I think like every state is different. Like I know for Detroit, for example, they said no fans until at least the 3rd home game of the season. But still, I still think like it's very risky to have fans in the stands, like especially now with like COVID cases kind of rising again. And I don't know if you heard, but like Western University had like 18 positive COVID cases today.
I heard a school in Brampton had like 200 or something.
Oh my
cases
gosh.
or something. So no, it's better to play on the safe side. Leave the cardboard cutouts in the stands, and then I don't know if you want to have like that little virtual fan thing the NBA does.
Yeah, that's it.
Do that, but at this point, just leave the teams and their staff and the officials and just make it that. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Fans are great, but I mean, the players already know that probably millions of fans are watching through like TV and broadcasting and stuff like that. So I'm not sure it's that big a deal if they don't get to show up.
Yeah, I'm sure like the athletes know that for sure, and like they still got like so much noise in the stadiums where they play, and the media is still there, or like through a Zoom call and stuff. Like I think it won't change too much of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But hey, let's talk about some football. Week 1, let's go back. Tristan's a Colts fan. Tough loss to.
That's a tough loss.
Tough loss to Jacksonville.
That's a gimme win that they blew. Like I was all excited in the offseason because they got a few guys are actually picking Indy to win that division, and I'm still picking them to win that division, the AFC South. But like you can't be like, oh my God, it's the defense, man. Like holy crap.
Hey, I agree with the Lions. It's the defense as well.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It's the defense, man. Like this is a gimme win. Like I mean, Minshew he played well. It was like 12 for 13, like 158 yards and like 1 touchdown, or 1 or 2. I don't remember.
That's not that good. That's like okay.
No. Like that's like I mean he had the completion obviously was like completion percentage was like 90 something whatever. But I mean
yeah, but yardage.
Rivers had like between like 360, 380 yards, 360, 380 yards, but he had 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Like I like Rivers on that team. I give him a few weeks and he'll develop. Like he's got quite the arm. Like I've never really watched him play, but he's decent. But they need to get some stuff together, man. Like jeez.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that acquisition, by the way, of Phillip Rivers? Like he's 38 years old, veteran guy. He's probably not going to be with the Colts for too long. They're probably going to just, move on from him in a couple of years and probably draft another guy.
Yeah. I think the big thing is just to kind of keep him in. Veteran guy. He knows how to play the game. He's been around for a while. They have a good offensive line, great offensive line, one of the best in the game.
Yes.
They've got some good wide receivers. They picked up a good running back in Jonathan Taylor in the draft. Mm-hmm. He's just a beast. I figured probably for maybe like a year or two, we'll just test him out this year, see what he's like. And then if they can really make a push, then, make the push, they make the playoffs and kind of see how it is. But I figured just have him on for a year or two, see how he does. And then if he retires, and they draft a younger guy. But I think they just have different pieces in the offense and the defense that work. And they figured, maybe we could post up like a 10-6 and an 11-5 this year, maybe next year, and see how he does in the playoffs. Like, I mean, I don't even know the last time Rivers was in the playoffs, but I was fine with the acquisition in the summer because he's not terrible, but he's been known to the interceptions kind of.
I think
most quarterbacks go through that.
Like when he was with the Chargers, like they were always a weird team because they would have a good year, they would have a bad year. It's kind of like on and off. Like they had pieces there. Like they have Keenan Allen, who is still a pretty good wide receiver in the league. Eckler is a good running back. And then like Rivers he was just getting, I think it's just the age with Rivers. Like they had chances to be something in this league, but I think they just ran into some other good teams. And I don't know if Rivers is like the guy to come in Indianapolis and lead them to a Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
They They need someone new like that, especially in the East, the AFC, with rising guys like Deshaun Watson and Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, right. Yeah.
The league is kind of, the quarterback position now is getting younger and younger. I mean, look at the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. Beating on the 49ers last weekend. The guys are getting younger and younger, and now what's being incorporated with a lot of the new guys is a quarterback that can throw, but then a quarterback that can run in a dangerous situation.
Jordan Love with the Packers. Like, nobody thought the Packers would draft him, right? And they get him, and even look at what the Saints are doing or they have been doing for a while with Hill and Breeze. Like, Hill's not known to run, but he can come in and pass. Like, just to switch up the offense a little bit. So
it's nice when you kind of have that. I mean, the NFL has always kind of been based on a stay in the pocket, like a quarterback that stays in the pocket. But obviously, with Lamar Jackson last year, and you know who else is got it too, is Josh Allen on Buffalo.
Allen.
If they need to run, they can run. And my big thing with the running QBs, make sure they have the size and the strength to do it. Like someone like Cam Newton. He's like what, 6'6", 6'7", but he's like 200. He's solid, man. He's like 240 pounds.
Yeah, did he run for like over 150 yards last week in game one?
No, I don't think 150 yards, but he got 2 rushing touchdowns. I think like 60 or 70 yards. Like you need a big guy like that to who can kind of get the yardage, but then who won't be injured, right? Like, that's my fear with Jackson. Is I feel like if he's a fast runner and he's got the moves, but then if he takes one bad hit, I don't think he has the size to kind of truck through players like Cam or like Josh Allen does. But
I agree with that. It is interesting that like football is kind of transitioning into the way that the younger quarterbacks are playing. And like you mentioned Deshaun Watson, like he's a phenomenal runner in this league. And let's talk about that game a little bit. Like, Watson got off to an awful start against the Chiefs in week 1. He kind of picked it back up, later on in the game. But the Chiefs look really good. And I know they had fans. They had a little bit of an advantage, but they look really good. Do you think the Chiefs might actually repeat? Because they're going to be good for so many more years to come.
They will repeat. You heard it here. They will repeat. Because it's really early in the season. Don't get me wrong. The only other team I can think that can actually compete with the Chiefs are the Saints and the Seahawks.
Okay,
I think those are the only two. I think those are the only 2 teams that realistically have all the pieces together. They got good rushing, good quarterback, good defense. I think those 2 teams can honestly make a game with Kansas City. Other than that, I don't think any team comes close.
Okay, so no teams in the AFC. So you don't think the Ravens have any shot?
I think the Ravens are just a regular season team. I think they'll go like 13-3 again, maybe. Or sorry, I don't know if they went 13-3 last year, but they'll 13-3, maybe 14-2. I don't know, but I just don't think Lamar Jackson can get over Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just think I don't have faith in them. I don't.
Okay. I can see that. I do think Kansas City will make the Super Bowl at least. But once you get to that game, it is tough to, in a one game, do or die. It's tough to go back to back, right? Especially with the other team knowing that you won last year and they're going to be extra motivated. I think a team like the Seahawks, who have been there before, who have won the Super Bowl before, and then also know the heartbreak of losing, should have gave it to Marshawn. I think they would be ready. Like Russell Wilson, I think they could put up a really good game plan against the Chiefs. But yeah, we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves, I think. Already talking in Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's only week 2.
It's only week 2. Yeah.
I'm just saying that Andy Reid and Mahomes combination, it's hard to beat. The only thing I could see is maybe what's his name, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. But I know the Chiefs are going back. It's just a matter of who they're going to play when they go back.
All right, man. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like it. Okay, let's go through some week 2 predictions here. So we got a Thursday nighter. It's already started, by the way. Bengals and the Browns. Both teams coming off losses. The Bengals had a heartbreaking loss in week 1. I guess every loss for the Browns is heartbreaking for their fans as well.
Yeah.
Who do you got taking?
Franchises.
Yeah, it's just one of those franchises like the Lions. Like the Lions and Browns are like the laughing stocks of the league for so long. Who do you have winning this game?
It's funny because the Browns should. This is a must-win game. It's not. I know it's only week 2, but it's a must-win game for them. Like essentially it's another kind of gimme win. I figure like the Browns should win this, but in all honesty, I'm taking Cincinnati.
I'm taking Cincinnati too.
In all honesty, like the Browns don't do well in games they should win. I mean, they got embarrassed by obviously one of the better teams in the AFC last week. But I mean, if you watch the Cincinnati game against the Chargers, like they should have won if AJ Green didn't push off and their kicker missed the field goal at the end. Yeah. Like Burrow should be 1-0 right now. Like I honestly, I think Cincinnati will win.
Did Cincinnati win a game last year?
They did.
They won one game?
I think they won 2. They beat the Jets, and I think they beat the Dolphins.
Okay. Yeah. Burrow should be 1-0. Like he put the Bengals in a position to win that game, and they had it. Kicker just missed it. So, and I think the Bengals do win this one. I don't see the Bengals falling to 0-2 with Burrow. Honestly, I think the Bengals might finish even like 7-9 this year. I think Joe Burrow is
I wouldn't
that good.
stretch that far. I think Burrow can maybe get 4 or 5 wins this year.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's still got room. He still has to develop. I still think the whole team has to develop. But he'll get some wins on the board. But I don't think anything too shocking. I mean, when Murray got drafted last year to Arizona, I think they still went like 4-12 or whatever. Like regardless of the good QB, you got to put those pieces in.
Mm-hmm. If AJ Green can stay healthy, I think that does give them a good combination. But yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to be like more like 4 or 5 wins this year. But I will give it to the Bengals over the Browns. Also, there's always OBJ trade talks for some reason still. So I think that might be lingering in the Browns locker room as well. I know Jarvis Landry was dealing with an injury, so I'll give it to the Bengals. I'll say Bengals over the Browns as well.
I'll give it to them because the Browns just disappoint year after year.
Yeah, true. All right, let's go to the next one. Carolina Panthers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't see Brady falling to 0-2.
No, so, I think it's going to be close, but I think Brady can take it.
Yeah.
That Carolina team made a game though in Las Vegas last week, so.
You're right.
I think people underestimate Bridgewater a little bit. I mean, he got those like 5 wins for the Saints, or 4 or 5 wins for the Saints. It was last year, the year before, where Drew Brees was injured. He's always been a good QB
since he was
in Minnesota. Yeah, like I just feel like he just gets underrepresented because of all these other QBs. But they can make it competitive. But I honestly think Tampa Bay can kind of grab their first win of the season.
Yeah, I think like if you look at the Bucs game last week against the Saints, like the Saints dominated that game. But I think if that was like a week 7, week 8 game, like sometime later on in the year, it's a lot closer because the Bucs are more familiar with Brady and Gronk and the new guys that they have in there and their new offense and chemistry and stuff. I think the Bucs figure it out next week and they get the dub. I don't know if it's going to be close, to be honest. I think the Bucs I think Tom Brady might just win this one by a lot against the Panthers. Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely shouldn't underestimate Bridgewater as well, but I think Brady will definitely come out next week with something to prove, and I think the Bucs will have a standout win.
I think it'll be close, but to each his own. So
yeah.
They'll win, though. But.
I think, okay, let's move on to the next one. Titans and Jaguars. Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars. Titans. Yes. Derrick Henry. Yes.
Derrick Henry, yeah.
So no upset for the Jaguars this week.
I don't think so. I think, Henry's a beast. I think AJ Brown's developing pretty well too. He's a good target. Like that was just a fluke win for Jacksonville last week. Like that was just a oh we're not tanking. We're gonna be great this week. But then I think the Titans will just kind of give them like a little wake up call that you just got lucky last week. So.
All right, yeah, I agree. I'll take the Titans as well on that one. Next one, the New York Giants and Daniel Jones against the team that beat the Lions, or the Lions beat themselves last week, but the team that technically beat the Lions, the Chicago Bears and Mitch Trubisky. I'm going to say who I have first. I have the Giants beating the Bears in this week. I think Daniel Jones will play a much better game than Trubisky. And I know it's the Bears and it's their home opener as well. And I'm probably a little bit biased, maybe, just because this team is in the NFC North. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the Bears' offense is good at all, to be honest. I don't think they can do anything. I don't think they have a run game. I don't think they have a good passing game. Their defense is good, Khalil Mack, and they have Robert Quinn as well. I think the Giants might shock, though.
The defense, though, is still pretty solid in Chicago. So
yeah, they do have pieces.
Defensive line, whatever. And if you can just kind of, you saw when they play. Steelers have a lot better defense, but you saw the way they stopped Saquon and.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever.
I don't think that happens again, though. I think Saquon's going to have a big week.
Yeah, I think that too. I'd take Chicago, but maybe by like a close score.
A lot of people would take Chicago. I'm just saying Giants, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see the Giants pull off this upset, though.
No, I would too. I would, honestly.
Let's go to America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you got taking in this one?
I'll say the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'd say the Cowboys. Yeah.
I took Cowboys, yeah.
That's another good game, but I got to give it to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That'll be good to watch, though.
Cowboys lost last week as well, so they got something to prove. Like, they always get off to these, like, weird starts to the year.
They had a bad call at the end of the game last game, too. So with that whole Jalen Ramsey and the pass.
Oh yeah.
On Amari Cooper, but I think they'll take it. I don't believe in the Atlanta Falcons. They seem to always have the pieces or whatever, but ever since that 28-3 Super Bowl flop of the whatever comeback of the century.
Yeah.
They literally just haven't been themselves, man. I'm sure Matt Ryan still can't sleep at night.
Probably not. Honestly, he's probably questioning, like, "Hey, am I ever gonna get back to the Super Bowl now? Like, that was my one shot."
That was his window, and now they literally have not been able to kind of recuperate or whatever, or kind of get back to form like they were. So.
Yeah,
no.
You probably like.
No, I'll take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll take the Cowboys as well. I think Zeke's gonna have a big week. I think Prescott will play well. Like, the Cowboys have a really good wide receiver core as well with Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, who they drafted, and then Amari
Cooper.
Yeah. So
they should be well, but I don't know. They should be better than they play. Like, they should have made the playoffs last year, but they in a Cleveland-esque kind of way, they always seem to disappoint.
Yes.
Like, I don't even remember the last time they won a playoff game.
Geez, it was definitely against the Lions.
Yeah.
It was definitely against the Lions. Remember that year? Like, they beat the Lions in the wild card round, and first of all, it was a stupid call. There should have been like pass interference against like the cornerback, I think, that was defending Brandon Pettigrew, but the refs threw the flag on the play, and then they picked it up. And then the Cowboys went on to win the game after that.
I remember that. Yes,
and if you remember the game after, that was the Dez Bryant catch.
Yeah, the Dez Bryant catch against Green Bay. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I do remember that. That seemed like that was like early 2010s, I think. But
that was like 2013 or 2014.
Yeah, I think 2013. I think you're right, 2013. But
yeah.
That's
a long time ago.
Yeah, it does seem a while ago.
All right, let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts and
Minnesota's taking it. I'll tell you right now, Minnesota's winning that game.
I have Minnesota winning that game too. Why do you think Minnesota over Indianapolis?
Minnesota's a better team. I think
Yes.
Minnesota, while they did lose to Green Bay, they kept it interesting. Like,
Yeah.
it was a high-scoring game. I think Green Bay had like 40-odd something. But
Mhm.
I think the Minnesota D is good. I think Kirk Cousins is. He's not a generational talent, but I certainly think he's like a step above Philip Rivers. I think it'll be like a gunslinging showdown between who gets more passing yards, whatever, between him and Rivers. But I think Minnesota's just the better team. They got Adam Thielen at wide receiver. They got Dalvin Cook at running back. Like, if the Colts can't capitalize early, or if they can't get good chances right off the bat, they're gonna lose the game. I have no faith. After that Jacksonville loss, I have no faith, man. I think Minnesota's too good. I honestly think out of everyone in your division there, I think Minnesota can take that division. I think Green Bay might get a wild card, but I think in all honesty, I think Minnesota's better than Green Bay, regardless if Green Bay won in week 1.
Interesting. Okay. I think a lot of people would say Packers, like Aaron Rodgers. You can't count him out. No, and look at what he did last week.
Yeah, no, he's great, man. Especially with they got Devontae Adams too.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. And Aaron Jones, like, no, they got some good pieces. But last year they were a good team, a good regular season team, I say. As they won the games they were supposed to, but I don't know if you remember, but there was a game against San Francisco and a few good teams last year where they looked like they didn't belong there. Like, I remember San Francisco won easily against them, and it kind of showed that they're one of those teams that can beat all the teams that they're supposed to beat, but when it comes to actual good competition, they couldn't get it done. They got it done against Minnesota, but I think towards the end of the season,
that was in the playoffs, right? Against the 49ers, that was in the playoffs, right?
But they also played them in the regular season too, Green Bay. And when they played San Francisco in the regular season, Green Bay still lost by a handful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't believe in the Packer hype.
Interesting, because my take on it is that Aaron Rodgers, just because they got who's that guy that they just drafted? I said his name earlier.
Jordan
Love. Yeah. I think that's just extra motivation for him. I think he might have a really good season just because he knows there's some guy just like right on his back, just waiting to come into the games and wait. The Packers are waiting to transition into that role with Jordan Love. It's like the clock is ticking for Aaron Rodgers. He has to win now. So yeah, exactly. I could see the Packers either winning the division or getting a wild card spot. I hope it's the Lions, obviously, but let's move on to Green Bay and Detroit. That's the week. That's the matchup for next week.
Yeah, I got to give that one to Green Bay, my friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm going to give it to Green Bay as well. I don't think Detroit's going to win. I think it's going to be an offensive game for sure. I think Matt Stafford's going to have a big game. But ultimately, I think just, the history of these two teams, and if you look at past matchups, the Lions historically aren't good in Green Bay whatsoever. I think they've won maybe one game in Green Bay in the last 10 years. Like, it is, Lambeau Field is a nightmare for the Detroit Lions. And they got, I don't know if you remember last year's game that the Lions played there. It was like week 3, and there was like 2 face mask penalties against Trey Flowers.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, and like the refs were just awful against the Lions in that game, which cost them the game. So I think like the refs are going to be in favor of Green Bay, and Green Bay's going to take it. And they're obviously just the better team too, I have to admit. Yeah. So I'll take Green Bay over Detroit. Let's talk about last week's Detroit game though, because I got to get something off my chest. DeAndre Swift. And like this guy's already, no, I don't want to call him out. This guy's already a meme. He's already gone through so much this week, I bet. His social media and everything. Like, he's a rookie. This guy's a really good player still. 2nd round draft pick. This guy's going to be the running back of the future, I still think. I know they got Adrian Peterson and Kerryon Johnson, but I think DeAndre Swift is their go-to guy still. And watch out. I think he's going to have a big game against Green Bay and prove a lot of people wrong. I don't want to call him out. Like, it's so disappointing. Like, I was celebrating. I thought the Lions won the game. I thought he caught the ball.
I had that game on too. I thought he caught it too.
Yeah, I mean everybody.
I saw Chicago came back, and I'm like, okay, thank God. Like they managed to kind of win the game. And I saw he dropped it. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
20 seconds or 10 seconds left on the clock, and he pretty much had it. He takes one step down and just drops it. I was like, oh my god.
He like turned his head too soon. He was like, he caught it and then it was just like this, and then he didn't have it. Oh my god, I couldn't believe it. I was celebrating. I like got out of my chair. I was like clapping and stuff, and then I go back to the screen and they say he dropped it. I'm like, what in the world?
A heartbreak.
It's a heartbreak. But in DeAndre Swift's defense, the Lions should never have given up that lead. Like, they were up 20-6. They gave up 21 points, 3 touchdowns to Mitch Trubisky in the fourth quarter.
Mitch Trubisky, like,
that's unacceptable.
Trust me, I watched that game too. He was overthrowing. He was missing passes. Like, you had his number in the first 2 quarters.
First half, yeah.
Like,
3 quarters.
He did not look like an NFL QB for 3 quarters of that game.
Yeah.
And the 1 quarter it mattered. He steps up and he makes like few long balls, beautiful catches. Like, I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure. I thought Detroit secured that W.
Stafford threw an interception that gave the Bears good field positioning as well, and like it was. I think also like it's not just Trubisky. Like, the Lions defense didn't look good, and also in the Lions defense they lost their 2 starting cornerbacks in the game. They lost Justin Coleman, who is one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the league, in my opinion. And they lost Desmond Trufant, who's also a very good cornerback. So, I mean, that doesn't help. But, yeah, I'll take Green Bay over Detroit, unfortunately, again. Let's hope Detroit pulls off an upset, though. Right, Tristan? Yeah?
Hopefully. Yeah, no, let's do it. I'd love a good upset. So let's do it.
I know your mom wouldn't be too happy, though, right? She's a Green Bay fan?
And she says, but she like rarely watches football.
True, fair enough. Yeah.
Just my dad and me. So.
I'm sure he's happy about the Steelers win.
Yeah, the defense looks solid, and Big Ben looks like he's back to form. So
yeah,
I think it's a solid team. They can definitely make a push for a wild card in that division. So
okay, yeah. Do you think? Let's move on to that matchup. Do you think they'll beat the Broncos next week?
I say yes. I think the Broncos are kind of a dark horse team that I think Drew Lock is actually give him a few more years to develop, because he had a pretty good season last season.
Yeah.
But Von Miller's out, a good piece of the defensive line. One of their running backs, Philip Lindsay's out too. I think Pittsburgh's kind of got their number there. I think Denver's going to have, I think, a good season, I guess, in their eyes, in terms of like taking steps to getting better. But with a few, like with people like Miller and Lindsay and I think a few other guys missing, it just kind of, they might go like a 7-9 or a 6-10. But I think the Steelers kind of got it. I think Big Ben's kind of feeling confident again that his elbow's kind of all fixed up. Juju had a big game last game too.
Oh yeah, showing off to the camera.
Yeah, that defense was just like basically toying with that Giants offense. Like, I'm sure Saquon was just pissed every time.
Yeah.
He got that ball, man. Like, oh my goodness.
I know.
That's good defense, and that's going to be tough to beat for Drew Lock. So I'll take the Steelers all the way.
Yeah, I agree. I'll take the Steelers as well, but I do have to agree, like, the Broncos, they have a good future ahead with Drew Lock and also Jerry Jeudy. I think that's a phenomenal pick that they got in the draft. Like, he's going to be their number 1 wide receiver for maybe his whole career, right?
That'll be a good connection, Lock and Jeudy. So.
Yep. Next matchup, the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. I think we all know the Bills are winning this one,
Bills
right?
Mafia.
Yeah.
Bills Mafia all the way.
And like 10 years ago, it might be a flip-flop between the teams, but the Bills have turned it around. The Bills are a good team.
Before Josh Allen, it would have been a flip-flop, but yeah.
Yeah, true.
I think the Bills will be a good team. That's another team I kind of forget about in the AFC. I still think the Chiefs are the top dog, but I'd say give Josh Allen maybe next year or the year after to kind of be like, okay, this is my this is my
wow
conference. So he's good, man.
He is good.
That defense is phenomenal too with what's his name, Tre'Davious White.
Yeah.
He's good. Stephon Diggs wide receiver. Like that's a really good football team.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah, and it's good to see. It's good to see, being in Canada, like a team close to us, the closest professional
Yeah,
football team. Like, good to
exactly.
see
Like
them doing well.
when's the last time you saw the Bills succeed at football? It's been a
Yeah,
long time.
exactly. Like they had the playoffs last year, and that was exciting. So,
That was
let's see if
that
they
was
can keep
that
it
was
up.
a
I
tough game.
I think they win a round at least this year. So,
I'd say so.
and then for the Dolphins, like they got Tua, but he hasn't started yet. I think,
They're not going to play Tua for a while. They'll keep going with Fitzpatrick, and if
yeah,
Fitzpatrick can't buy them at least one win or two, they might throw Tua in. But I don't know how he is
injuries, right?
after his injury. He was
Yeah,
very injury prone in Alabama, so
yeah,
they would be wise to not rush him into the game just yet. Let him play behind Fitzpatrick, see what he can figure out. And they still need a lot more pieces on that team before they can even make a push for a wild card spot at least in the AFC. So
definitely, yes, yes. Okay, let's go to the next one. San Francisco 49ers against the New York Jets. I think that's also another kind of easy one.
49ers
Yeah.
all the way, man.
Yeah, I'll say 49ers as well. Even though Sam Darnold's good young quarterback, but I think 49ers are just better.
He's wishy-washy, man. He's like New York football is just at its lowest right now. He was one of the top QBs taken that year in the draft.
Yeah.
What was it? 2017 draft.
It's like what, third overall or something?
Yeah,
Something
it
like
went
that.
like I think it went like Mayfield and then Allen and then
Yeah, Josh Allen.
I think Darnold was next after that. But he's had games where it looks like he shows promise, and then he has other games where you're like, why the hell did I draft this guy?
Yeah. I know. But he's got a good arm. He does
have a good arm.
He needs some help around him. He needs some good wide receivers. Like they have Crowder, right? I think they have Jamison Crowder. But like that's it. Like, is he really even that good? Like they got to get someone else to help out Darnold. But yeah.
And Le'Veon Bell's injured too, so
yeah, right.
rely a lot more on him. So
yeah, no run game. Even though it probably wouldn't have mattered. Like the 49ers defense is still good. Even though they weren't too good last week against the Cardinals, I think they'll have a bounce back week.
They're missing a few pieces to the defense, but I still think they're solid. They're a pretty solid team.
They're missing DeForest Buckner, who's now on the Colts.
Yeah, well, hopefully he has a good season. But,
next matchup is the LA Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to take the Rams in this one.
I'll take the Rams as well.
Eagles got embarrassed last week. They lost to a team that doesn't have a nickname.
They got a good defensive line, man. Chase Young on that football team's line, it's
so good.
He's pretty good, and I think too, just going up against a defensive line that includes Aaron Donald. Like I don't know if you saw any clips, but there was a few clips last game where Donald was just plowing through that offensive line. Like there was one instance where Zeke came in to kind of protect him as like a last option, and he basically picked Zeke up and like threw him into Dak. Like they double you always have to double cover him, but there's times where he pushes them like there's nothing. Like I think
he's so good.
Wentz is I figure Wentz should be like a little bit on his toes because he can Donald can just kind of come in unexpected and just
for sure
tackle for a loss of like 5 or 6, man. So no, I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams too. And Wentz didn't even have a good week last week as well.
No, he didn't. No.
Yeah, Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman in the league, so he's always tough to stop.
He is. I also think I just think like some of the corners and the safeties are good too on the Rams. I think I'd say it's like a top 10 defense, but more so towards like 9 or 10. It's not the best in the league, but they've still got some good pieces on there.
Yeah. Jalen Ramsey, that's a big add too. Like getting him at a young age. They did give up some decent pieces to get him.
Yeah,
but
I think it should be worth it. A year or two ago.
Yeah,
all in like a year or two ago, and so you got to kind of fight for that spot now because now they're in a tough division because everyone around them's pretty good now. Arizona,
they just locked up Cooper Kupp. They signed him to an extension as well. Robert Woods. They got pieces there, so watch out for the Rams. What's next? Oh yeah, the team that doesn't have a nickname, the Washington football team, and the Arizona Cardinals. Do you think Washington will start the season 2-0?
No.
No.
They will not start the league. No.
No. That would be
Just,
nuts if they did, but no.
No. I think Arizona starts the season off 2-0. I think there's another dark horse team I think most people won't pay attention to, but I think Murray's pretty good quarterback, and now he's got a reliable target in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
So they got Fitzgerald, who never drops the ball. You've got
he doesn't age. He does not age.
No, he does not, man. Like they're gonna kind of creep up in that division and kind of give San Fran and Seattle a little scare. Like, hey, I'm here too. Like, I can steal one of your wild card spots. Like,
yeah.
Depending on how the season goes, they could take the division. I don't think they will, but they're good. Like, I think teams might go into it like an easy matchup. It's not an easy matchup.
Oh, it's definitely not easy. Like they got threats. And Kyler Murray, like he can run the ball, he can throw the ball. He's very deceptive. Like he's very good, and he's very young too. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's on my fantasy team. I need him to do well. I need him to stay healthy too. I think the only way the Cardinals would win this division is if Russell Wilson gets injured, but I don't want that to happen. I want Wilson to stay healthy. I want everybody to stay healthy. So, never know. Maybe the 49ers and the Cardinals get both the wild card spots.
Wild cards? Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out, but they'll be good this year. I'll take them 2-0 against the football team.
All right. Yeah, there you go.
Good squad.
Okay, Baltimore Ravens and Houston Texans. Lamar against Deshaun. You said Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Houston's a pretender, man.
Who's a pretender?
The Houston Texans. And obviously there's a little bit of bias because they're in my division. But
true.
I watched them play football. And I mean, they're a good side. I'll give them that. But they're nothing that's really going to scare you come, like, playoff time. Like, you saw that, up 21-0 to the Chiefs in, like, the first quarter, and then it's, like, 24-21, like, middle of the second quarter. I think Lamar Jackson has just a field day with the Texans.
Wow, okay. So you think it's going to be more embarrassing than the Chiefs game in week 1?
I'll say it'll be similar to the Chiefs.
Oh, similar. Okay.
I think Houston can kind of push. Houston seems to always get to that early start, but then just can't kind of answer in the middle. And then when they want to score touchdowns or field goals or whatever, it's too late.
Yeah, true. So, I will say that David Johnson played surprisingly well last week.
He did play well, but still, giving up DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah, Houston, that was a joke. Like they gotta get rid of their coach. Like, I feel bad for Deshaun Watson because he has so much talent. He's one of the best young quarterbacks.
Like he just
right?
got paid. Yeah, he just got paid this year too.
But, yeah.
Like with Lamar and Mahomes in the AFC, like I honestly don't think
and Josh Allen. There's a lot of guys.
And Josh Allen too. Like I honestly think those three guys, as like with the teams they're on, will do a lot better in the next couple of years than Deshaun Watson will do. And if he gets pissed off and he doesn't like it, he might just leave. Like
probably.
I think if Bill O'Brien stays on that team and makes the moves that he does without seeing any progress, depending on I don't know how much his contract was for, or how long it was for, but depending on no success, he just might want out. He might just say screw you, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Yeah, so
it'd be perfect for the AFC South. I want him out of that division.
Yeah, true. And the Colts need a quarterback. If the Colts would need, maybe he goes to the Colts.
Maybe
you would love that.
I would adore that. Like
you'd get that jersey.
Yeah, I'd order that jersey right away.
Next matchup, Chiefs and Chargers. I think Chiefs. Yeah,
easy prediction.
It's hard to go against the Chiefs. Yeah. Can't really say too much about that one. And then Seahawks and Patriots. This is a big one. Sunday nighter. Newton against Wilson. Seahawks.
I take it. It'll be close. I want to say Seahawks, but I think it can honestly go either way.
Yeah.
I think Cam Newton he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. I think people think he's washed up. I think people think after that injury he's not good anymore. And he's on a very good team with a very good defense. He has options on offense. Like it'll be a game. I think it'll come down to one of those fourth quarter. Maybe Seattle's down by a few, and Wilson makes like this 4 or 5 minute just drive down the field where you have a couple third and inches or fourth and inches, and he makes it maybe a TD
drive.
pass maybe a TD pass to Metcalf or someone. But
okay. All right, you know what? If that happens, I'll clip it.
Well, I need Metcalf to get some points because he's on my fantasy, so I'm hoping he plays well.
Right.
I will take the Seahawks over the Patriots.
Yeah, it's hard to go against the Seahawks. Like they put up 38 points last week as well, and like the Patriots, like it was a close game against the Dolphins. Like they didn't win it by a landslide. You can't go against Belichick either, but I'll take the Seahawks. I'll take Seattle, even though it's in New England. Primetime game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it will be, somewhat close, like you said. It might come down to the fourth quarter. But yeah, Seattle will start the season 2-0. And Patriots will fall to 1-1. That's really the football talk we got for today. Did a lot of prediction stuff.
I enjoy some good predictions. So
yeah, I think I got to make it like a segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We could just end it off here. I mean, we could talk some Raptors. What are your thoughts on the Raptors?
I'll talk some Raptors. It was disappointing. I think most people are upset or a little disappointed. But I mean, realistically, if you look at it, when you get to the later stages in the playoffs, you need kind of that one kind of superstar guy to go to kind of help keep you in the game or maybe get you forward, right? And I love Siakam. I do. Great guy. NBA all-second team, but
yeah, true.
He was nowhere to be seen in that Celtics series. And I don't like talking crap about him, but there was, I think it was game 6 or whatever, and he took the ball, he had possession, I think took possession for 5 whatever in a row. He had the ball 5 times in a row or whatever. And it was either a turnover or a missed shot. And it's just in games where it's close like that, you gotta spread the ball a little bit or give it to somebody else. I think give him some time, give him next year, he'll be fine. It's just, there's guys that struggle in the playoffs, but
it's just 1 year too. He did very well in the playoffs last year, and he had a phenomenal regular season. He's second team All-Star for a reason, right? And he's still very young. I think he's going to use this as motivation. He's going to have a phenomenal season next year, but at the end of the day, it just sucks. It sucks that the Raptors lost, and it sucks that Siakam didn't show up.
Yeah, at least they got it to 7 though. Most people counted the Raptors out since the start of the season, and I mean Nick Nurse got coach of the year. They finished second in the East.
In the East, yeah.
Second in the East. They swept Brooklyn. They took the Celtics to 7. It's good. It's nothing. It sucks because of all the hype that we got last year, but I still think it was a pretty good this year. It comes down to in the end there where you need someone like Lowry or Siakam to step up, which I mean it's nice. We had Kawhi last year to kind of do that for us. And I just figure once you get into those later stages, like Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, LeBron,
you need that guy.
Jokic or Murray, those are the guys to go to who are going to kind of help you in those later stages to kind of get you those points when you need those points.
And in game 6, it was Lowry. Lowry put up those tough shots in the later part of the game. But yeah, you're right. I think we needed, a better guy somehow. And I don't know if people are saying that, the reason we lost is because of Kawhi. I don't know. I don't know if that's really the reason why. And everyone, I know how the Clippers now lost to the Nuggets after being up 3-1, and everyone's saying, Kawhi, you really left us for that and stuff like that. In my opinion, if you're a Raptors fan saying that, you shouldn't be saying that. You need to be grateful for what this guy did for us last year, and you can't be spoiled about it. That's my take on it. I wouldn't be roasting the guy for what he did for us last season. And also, it's so difficult to win back-to-back in any sport. Like Golden
Well,
State
I
made it look
figure,
easy, but
yeah.
if you look
In
at any
any,
other team, it's tough.
if you're gonna give it to any sport though, it would have to be basketball,
For
just
sure.
because of, I guess, you only have, isn't it like 12 or 13 guys per team, and most of the guys like kind of stay together.
It's easier
But
to win in basketball. Like if you have a good team on paper, chances are you're gonna make like the playoffs for sure, at least. If you have like a superstar, you'll make the Eastern Conference final, the Western Conference final. If you have two superstars, you might make the final. Like in hockey, like look at what's going on. Like the New York Islanders, like who's their best player? Matthew Barzal, and they're like 2 games away from the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So no. Basketball, it's tough. And back to the kind of Kawhi thing you were saying, I think a lot of people, especially me, you're kind of happy that he's out, but at the same time, you're also kind of sad because you're like, man, no success. I mean, no Eastern Conference Finals for us this year. He doesn't go to the West Final. Like, you're just thinking what could have been, you know? Like, if he stayed, like, would that be us playing Miami right now? Like, if he stayed, would we get to the finals again? And
I think so.
It hurts. It hurt. I honestly think they could too. Like, it was a good team last year, and I mean, don't have to play Golden State this year. Let's say if you do make the finals, but I mean, how would a Toronto team like that with Kawhi fare against the Lakers or the Nuggets? Like,
I think we would destroy the Nuggets.
I know Lakers would be interesting.
Lakers would be interesting. You're right, but I still think we would. I don't know. It's tough to say, and it's obviously like we have bias towards it, but it would be a hell of a series if we played against the Lakers. I think everybody's cheering for the Nuggets now. Like they want to see them continue their upsets and win.
I'd love to see the Nuggets win. It's a shame they won't.
But then also, I guess if you look at the Lakers with everything that happened, Kobe Bryant passing away earlier in the year, you want them to win. You're pulling for them as well. So
yeah.
And then in the East, who do you want to win? Do you want the Celtics to win, or do you want the Heat to win?
I'd like to see Miami just because I like all the young guys and what Jimmy Butler's kind of done there, man. You got Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn, 2 rookies that are played out of their minds this season and in the playoffs. You got Bam Adebayo, who's like runner-up for most improved player of the year. You have Duncan Robinson, who's this sharpshooter from outside the 3-point line. Like, they've got so many weapons on at Miami. And I mean, the Celtics do too, with Tatum and Kemba and Jalen. And Marcus Smart, oh my God, did I hate him in that Raptors series, man. Seriously, I despise that guy.
That's Brad Marchand to us, though.
Yeah,
as Leafs fans. Like it would have been great to see a Toronto team beat a Boston team in the playoffs in a 7th game, right?
I honestly thought they could at the beginning, because that's such them. Miami and Boston are like the most evenly matched teams in the East.
Yeah,
I think. I throw Milwaukee in there.
Milwaukee is in there too, but they got destroyed. Yeah, I know they didn't have Giannis, but still.
That's tough. Like, I don't know. A lot of people say blame it on the bubble, man. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. And there would have been an asterisk too. Like, there still is going to be an asterisk for whoever wins the championship. So maybe in some way, like, it saves us some of that criticism. But I don't know. It sucks, but we'll be back. We'll be back next year. It's probably going to be the same team coming back. Like, we might lose a couple of guys, but hey, if we can stay competitive next year and make a solid offer for Giannis, like, he might want to come here. He's got the connection with Masai.
Masai has good ties with Antetokounmpo, so
yeah,
he's got to bring one of his brothers over to the team to seal the deal. That's how you got to bring his family over, at least one of them. I know one's in LA and his other brother in Milwaukee, but there's a younger one who I think is like 16 or 17 or something.
Yeah, they got to recruit him. They got to sign him right now.
He's still fair. Just get one of them over to give some motivation, like, oh, hey, you guys had trouble with Miami. We had trouble with Boston. Like, you see the way Miami and Boston are going.
Yeah.
Miami and Boston, young guys, are going to be running the East in a while. If you come over here, man, like, all we have to worry about is LeBron in LA. Trust me. We'll just cruise past the East and just have to play that damn Laker team in the the finals, man.
True. Yeah. Well, maybe in a couple of years, like LeBron's getting up there in age too. Maybe that comes to an end. You never know.
I don't know, man. He doesn't seem to.
True.
He doesn't ever seem to slow down, man. Him and AD, like that guy. In all honesty, I think that guy can play for like another 10 years. Like he's like 35.
How old is he now?
Right now.
Yeah, he's 35, right?
35. Yeah. He'll play when his son gets in the league. But it's not like he's like this guy who's putting up like average. Like this guy's pretty much him and AD are leading this team again to the finals because they'll beat Denver. Like this guy will not stop until he physically cannot play anymore. Who knows when that is? 40, 45, 50? Like, and he's been solid for like the past 3 or 4 years. Like he's playing some of the best basketball according to like experts and stuff that they've ever seen. Like this guy seems to just be getting better with age.
Yeah, true. More experience he's getting, more opportunities he's getting. The teams that he's on are getting better too. Like Cleveland was a good team, but he was like the clear guy there. But now you move him to the Lakers and he has a guy like Anthony Davis to help him out now. So that's what he kind of needs as he gets older. He needs the complementary players. So
he's always needed that though. He had that in Miami with D Wade.
Oh yeah, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then in Cleveland when he had Kyrie and Kevin Love, and hey, even when Kyrie left and that Cleveland team was basically just LeBron, like basically the Cleveland LeBrons, he still took them to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing to kind of stop LeBron, which I'm hoping for next year, is Golden State because Clay will be back and Curry will be back. And they got a second overall pick. Wiggins on there too, and Draymond. Don't forget too, KD and Kyrie are gonna come back to Brooklyn next year as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good year next year. It's gonna suck for the Raptors because like they're not gonna be getting any of those guys. But
no.
Hey, you never know.
It'll be interesting to see.
You never know, right? And Nick Nurse always has something up his sleeve with his game plans. So
he does. I do like Nurse.
Yeah. So I think Raptors fans, they shouldn't be too upset. I think give it a week. Give it a week. It's already been a week, right? Or a week tomorrow, I think.
I think it's been close to a week, yeah. Yeah, a week tomorrow.
A week tomorrow. So I think, by tomorrow, I think we should just appreciate what happened last year. Appreciate the championship that we got. Watch some highlights from that run. Just watch the Game 7 Kawhi shot again. That'll cheer you up, and you'll be fine. I think that does it for the show, though. I think I don't want to talk any Jays. They had some embarrassing losses the past 2 days. Yeah. I think they'll make the playoffs still.
I hear good things. I'm not a big baseball guy, but I've heard the Jays have been doing pretty well. So.
They've been doing pretty good, yeah. Tristan, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Always good to talk sports. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I watch the podcast. I got your little Instagrams, and I always watch clips here, man. I enjoy what you talk about, all that. So I was like, and I appreciate the invite coming on. So
and we'll have to get you on again.
Yeah, but I say you ever want to have me on again?
I'm definitely down for that. Oh yeah, we got it. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I'll definitely get you back up. I'll get you back on sooner than that.
When they win the Super Bowl.
Did I say that? Did I say if?
You said if when they win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, you heard it here first, like you said. It's 1-1 in the Tampa Bay Islanders game right now. 3 minutes left in the second. Looks like we could be headed to another overtime. So you never know. Islanders could push it to 7.
You never know.
Yeah. But we'll see. So thanks for watching episode number 19 of Unlimited, guys. We'll be back with another episode next Friday. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify as well, Google Podcasts, Anchor. That's really it. We'll be back next week. See you guys later. Take care. Peace.